Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Mid-South Wrestling's television review right here on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out Live. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Rodney West is with us. Rodney, another Mid-South Wrestling television review from 1984. What month is this now?
We're going to be in August 30th. 1984. This is episode 260. It's a banner one. We get started right off the bat. Joel and Bill Watts are opening the show. Boyd Pierce not there this time. Mother had passed away, and so Boyd was not at the TV taping for that particular event. Then we move on. The PYT, in fact, fined $10,000. It's actually Coco Ware was fined $10,000. Didn't pay the fine, so they're gone. So away they go. That was very sad. You take all that time to build somebody up, and out the door they go. I don't get it. And what we're about to see, I don't get either. Because from there, Bill Watts throws to a video involving a TV star named Jeff McKay, and I believe you're familiar with Jeff.
He was Corky on Magnum PI. Corky, not Magnum TA. Magnum PI, Tom Selleck.
So he was not a cork on Magnum TA, but a Corky.
His name was Corky on Magnum PI. You know, I enjoyed the video. I thought the guy did really good. I don't want to watch that. I want to watch Mid-South Wrestling. But it didn't make any sense why you would show Junkyard Dog after you just left.
Well, that was one of my comments. We come from various different areas, and we learn things from every place we've been. And the very beginning is from Nick Goulas. Nick Goulas taught a very valuable lesson. I believe he was promoting wrestling for 30 years.
Yes.
He says that if you're going to don't advertise your competition. That is the cardinal rule. If your competition wants advertisement, let them pay for their own. You don't give competition advertisement on your own show. And I felt like that's exactly what he did. The lesson learned, Dad, we were talking about it. Even back then, we were talking about it. And Dad would say, when you show somebody, even if they're gone, people still want to see them. So it would have been a better use of time to try to promote somebody that's actually going to be in the towns, going to be in your arenas, going to be part of instead of taking the time to tear someone down. To this day, I will not. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for Bill Watts. We learned a lot from him too, but that's, to me, rule number one: do not promote your competition. Just don't do it. Am I right, Brent?
Well, and then he came, after he showed the video, he came back and done a 15. Well, I'll say 15 minutes. I'm exaggerating that, but at least a 2-minute interview saying, "Now listen, Junkyard." Now I understood what he said. What he was saying was true. Junkyard Dog told people, which what he was trying to do. He's trying to kill Junkyard Dog's credibility, which he did. It did work. I mean, that's the one thing I have to admit. Bill Watts did do a good job at explaining that, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't have spent any time at all on
No, I would have done something if it was me to do it. I would have done something right before the show even come on, and just say that our hopes and our prayers go to the Junkyard Dog wherever he may go, and he always has a home here at Mid-South. I would have done it that way. I think it would have been a little bit more classier. It's funny. While you're on the show, you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. You leave and you're dirt. Okay, I never did get that. It's just kind of like the same thing. Khrushchev has Steve Dr. Death Williams has the Mid-South medal from Crusher Khrushchev, and that's fine. Everybody's fine with it, but just as soon as Terry Taylor has it, you know what? You need to get it back. I never could get that.
The thing about at this time, even though the Junkyard Dog didn't need to leave when he left, I mean, that he left at the right time. I think even he knew it was time for him to leave. I don't think when he left, he probably didn't leave the right way. He should have gave a notice. But I think if I'm not mistaken, Vince McMahon paid for his tax evasion problems, or it's not tax evasion problems, but not paying for his taxes. And I think Vince paid all of it for him to come work there. So,
I think, and you know what? If you would have offered the same thing, you might have still been there.
Yes.
Never know. It's funny. You spend the first 8 months of the year trying to keep him out of there as much as possible. And then he finally leaves. And then, I'm all excited and I'm all insulted about it.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I don't
Yeah.
get it. Anyway, we go to the ring. It's Big Bob Owens, one of my favorites, as you know, against Johnny Mantel. Mantel, what can you say? Just tremendous wrestler. Just tremendous wrestler. In the end, the people automatically, he gets a really good response from the crowd. In the end, it's Johnny Mantel beating Bob Owens with the Russian leg sweep or foot sweep. I think it's the leg sweep. Could be. It's kind of like the difference between a back body drop and a high elevation.
I must say, though.
Go ahead.
I didn't understand the Russian leg sweep. You know what you said. I didn't understand that.
Bill Watts calls the Russian foot sweep.
Because Brickhouse Brown had just did it the week prior. So I didn't understand why they allowed him to use the same maneuver.
Maybe Johnny was using it somewhere else, and they said, "Well, just use whatever you use," and nobody asked him what it was.
Yeah, this is true.
You never know. I would just say, and possibly in Dallas, I had been using it. Who knows?
And he could have been. He could have been, but I just thought that was kind of weird that they didn't catch that, and they let him do the same move that Brickhouse Brown had used the week. I think it was the week before, right, with Buddy Landell.
Right, Buddy Landell. Well, yeah, he did it twice, really. Buddy Landell did not twice. So next match we have Jim Cornette out there and Hercules Hernandez, and Cornette goes through the obituary of all the people who have now they've gotten rid of, and he talks about why in the world he has that mask. Jim Ross says, "No, we noticed something new with your attire here today, talking about the mask." And of course, Cornette had his head shaved in the New Orleans at the Municipal Auditorium, which they're planning on showing in the future. But Cornette, when you see this, you're going to kind of wonder, why didn't they make Duggan, honor the contract? He lost the match. He should have shaved his head. But instead, Cornette got the head shaved, and he's in the mask. And I find it a very unattractive mask at that.
Yeah, you thought he would get him a better mask of that. Hey,
you got that kind of. Hey, Bubba Griffin's in the house. Welcome, Bubba. I would think if you have that kind of money, you would have a better mask than that.
Yes, and Cornette on his podcast. We got to talk about that right now.
Okay, go ahead.
On Jim Cornette's podcast, he talks about that he gets his hair shaved because him and Bill Dundee get into an argument at a town. I can't remember where it is, Shreveport, Louisiana. It could be Jackson, Mississippi. I don't remember what town it was. But he said they got in an argument, and really, Bill Dundee slapped him. And I remember when this happened. I remember when Jim Cornette was slapped. So in his story, he tells that he gets his hair cut because of this altercation between Bill Dundee and Jim Cornette, that slapping and all that stuff that happened. Well, we know that's not the reason he's got his hair shaved. It was in the plans for a while. It was in the plans from the TV prior to that. They were cutting hair, and so I don't believe that Bill Dundee did it because
no, it was Bill.
He would just fire him. I mean, he could have brought anybody in at that point and put him with Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton.
They didn't need anybody. Honestly, they really didn't need anybody. Cornette, Dennis Condrey or Bobby Eaton, either one. They really didn't need anybody. But,
and we know our father was helping with the booking as well, along with Grizzly Smith and Bill Watts. But I don't believe they sat around going, "Oh, we're going to cut his hair because we got a good argument with him."
And then offer when they were deciding to move the Midnight Express, offer Cornette a full-time job there. To manage the whole thing, to stay there even after Dennis and Bobby were gone.
It's a good story to tell, but I just don't.
I don't.
My father was helping with the booking. Our father was Ron West. For anybody that's watching this new, that's not watched any of our other shows, but no, I just don't think that happened. And because if we knew it was happening, our father would have told us, "Oh, we're doing that," that was not the case.
No.
So, Red Harris from the Mississippi Gulf Coast,
right from the old Biloxi area, Gulfport. Anyway, we got Cornette goes through all of the casualties, PYT, Rock and Roll Express, and everybody that's left, and talks about his mask, and then brings on the Midnight Express, Bobby and Dennis. what can you say? Just absolute brilliant. But before he brings them on, Khrushchev's out there, and they make the match with the Khrushchev against Jim Duggan, hair versus the Russian flag. And so that will be the main event later on. So it'll be a Russian flag. And of course, Cornette says, I will give you an extra bonus if you bring me the hair of Hacksaw Jim Duggan. The fact of the matter is, he should those same lawyers he got before should have got him on this, because his head needs to be shaved. We're going to show that. You'll see Jim Duggan lost that match just as plain as day, and everybody will see it. We'll show that here. We'll not show it, but we'll talk about it in the coming weeks.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't show it, but maybe we can throw some pictures up. Maybe we can throw some pictures up. We'll try to throw some pictures up. I think we won't get in trouble for that. So,
well, in the end, Cornette tells her that he's going to take care of Duggan and the Fantastics, and here shortly, Fantastic's going to get a good one of my favorites of all time. We'll be talking about that next week. Anyway, Midnight Express on the way, going against Rick McCord and Art Cruz. Pretty decent match. Yep. Ends up with Dennis and Bobby doing the old one up, one low, one high. Comes with a clothesline, and it was over with Rick McCord, Midnight Express over in that one. Then we have a video of Adrian Street. It'll be his first appearance coming up. Has that video, I'm in Love with Me. Then it's Adrian Street to the ring. And Adrian catches people off guard. I don't know. Did you see David Hightower sitting in the back smiling as Adrian had? And I would guess he was humping the ring post there, and he was laughing about it. If you noticed, I don't know. But as Joel Watts said, a mixed reaction from Adrian Street. Actually, an original. I don't think there ever has been, or there ever will be, another Adrian Street. And I think, captivated this audience as he faced up against Terry Ellis. Now, I don't know about you, Brent. I have a feeling Adrian got mad. Do you think so in that match?
You know what? I didn't see it in the match. Where do you think he got mad?
Right off the bat, when he went for the leg dive, he fell the wrong way. And then from there, Adrian proceeded to annihilate the poor guy. I mean, if you saw those European type forearms, I mean, he was throwing them over and then stepping on him when he come over. I mean, he was laying them in there. And the big splashes, he was throwing his whole weight on. It just looked like Adrian was not amused.
Well, Terry Ellis wouldn't have been able to do anything about it as well. So
even
if he tried, there was
there was not after the first thing. Adrian had nothing for him. He ate his lunch basically. Then in the end, Adrian catches with that fantastic crucifix pinning combination as Adrian Street over. And I noticed with Adrian, and I haven't seen him do it before, but I noticed Adrian stepping up on Miss Linda's back to get in the ring. Yes. I have seen that in many places. But yeah, he was doing it there. Then Adrian had an interview. He basically introduces himself to the Mid-South audience. And of course, Bill Watts is saying, I don't really know what we just seen there. But he was very impressive.
This is the thing that I liked about Adrian Street when he did his interview. When he was doing his interview, he said he told everybody that he missed his afternoon tea. He said, I missed my afternoon tea. My camera is going crazy right now. It's making me be a little drunk right here. But he said, I missed the afternoon tea. And he talked about, I thought it was funny because he said, these are the words he said. He said, everyone out here, they're drinking beer and swilling tobacco, and the men are just as bad. In his interview. And then he says, now some people call those promos, but those were interviews back then. They were not promos, by the way. Also in his interview, he said that he stole a line from Andy Kaufman and told people that he was going to tell them about soap. I thought that was
yeah. He said he kind of wondered what cages were. He's heard of occasion, but he didn't know what occasion was.
Good interview. Great interview.
Absolutely, and different. Something that they'd not seen before in the Mid-South. I don't believe. I really don't believe. Next up is Jim Ross and Steve Dr. Death Williams. And Steve Dr. Death is kind of wondering why no one wants to challenge him for his Dr. Death Award. I don't know. I don't know, Steve. Why don't they want your sweaty old helmet? I don't know. It just makes no. Anyway, he's complaining about it. He says he didn't wonder why even the scrawny referees went and tried to go after it.
Who wants that?
I'm thinking,
Who cares anything about that helmet? We said it back then. We said the same thing back in 1984. At this point in time, we said, why does anybody care about getting that helmet?
What do you have a nice paint job on there or nothing?
Yeah. Now, if you're going to do it, maybe have a solid gold.
The golden helmet.
The golden helmet. Maybe that make me want to go get it, but those nasty helmets on his head, he's sweating in it.
He might have should have filled it with some like money.
That could have done it. Silver dollars or something.
Then one of the fans would have stolen it off the pole.
Yeah, this is true.
Anyway, so he's upset and just wondering why nobody was challenging him for his Steve Dr. Death Award. We don't know. Anyway, so we go to the next match. Buddy Landell against Robert Christie. He is from Bay City, Alabama. For this big extravaganza, Watts during the match is talking about Brickhouse Brown. Now, Britt, do you remember what Buddy Landell and Butch Reed and Ernie Ladd all called Brickhouse Brown? You remember that? You remember what
I don't think I remember it.
When I tell you,
Outhouse Brown. Outhouse Brown.
Outhouse Brown. Reed just he's no brick house. He's an outhouse. Outhouse Brown. So it's Brickhouse Brown. It's Buddy Landell against Robert Christie. And of course, in the end, it's Landell catching, which is a beautiful forearm. Down he goes. 1, 2, 3. Buddy Landell in that. We didn't do the spinning elbow that time. We caught him with the surprise. Just a beautiful, beautiful forearm.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
And in a match number 5, one of our favorites, the big cat Ernie Ladd.
Oh, he was good. This was
and
good.
In his corner was Buddy Landell, and he was going against Brickhouse Brown. Once again, I hate to say this, as you know, I have been suspended from other shows.
This is true. Yes.
I have a feeling that Ernie was having difficulties with Mr. Brown. He got in the corner there, and he was supposed to, I think, get on there and jump on him. And I think Ernie was begging the referee, kill him. Just tell me. I don't know.
Well, I will tell you, if you think that's a problem. Now, what episode did you say this was?
This was episode 260.
All right, episode 260. Next time, on the next episode of Mid-South Wrestling Television Review, we're going to be looking at 261, episode 261. I tell you what, people go ahead and go grab episode 261 of Mid-South Wrestling and go watch the tag team match that we'll be seeing.
Yes. Yeah. You're talking about Ernie Ladd and Crusher Khrushchev, I do believe, against Sonny King and Brickhouse Brown. So
a little homework for the insiders that are watching our program today. All the insiders of Pro Wrestling Inside Now, go to episode 261. I think you put Mid-South Wrestling episode 261 in YouTube, or if you've got the WWE Network, I think they probably got them in episodes. Go watch that, and then we'll all be together and know what's going on that episode next week.
Ernie Ladd starts off great. I loved it that he grabbed his head and shook it. I love that. He just grabbed his head and shook it, and then, of course, turned away, and then Ernie was going to Pearl Harbor him, but it didn't work out for him. And then he was down in the corner, and like I said, I think he was trying to tell the referee, come in, tell him, come in. He wouldn't come in. Finally, Ernie gets up. He goes into his tights, going to pull out something. And, of course, Brickhouse blocks it, catches him with a drop kick. Ladd's down, goes for the 1, 2, 3. Landell's in, calls for the disqualification. Then it's 2-on-1 Ernie Ladd against Ernie Ladd and Buddy Landell doubling up on Brickhouse Brown. They do a pretty good number on him. Finally, we see Brickhouse Brown on his back in that particular one. And Ernie Ladd gets the double leg drop on him. Not in time, just in time, though. Here comes Sonny King. Then it's all 4 in the ring. Sonny King and Brickhouse Brown, clean house, and Landell and Ladd's out of the ring. Just tremendous. I mean, Ladd was taking just double back body drops. It was all. He's awesome.
For a person who had
320 pounds, 6'9", and back body drops, and it was fantastic.
Bad knees. Ernie Ladd had really bad knees, but boy, he was working hard. By the way, James Brown James Brown is on here. He says, I miss Jack Lord so good. Jack Lord is a little under the weather, and he has been for the last week. We're hoping he feels better, and he's back with us next week. But he has felt under the weather since Tuesday, and we're hoping that he feels better and he can get back with us and have fun talking about the old school professional wrestling, Mid-South wrestling each and every week. And we enjoy this to go back and really relive some memories. We were there most of the time. We were there at that TV station when we were watching it live in person. So we like to go back and talk about those days. And our father, Ron West, referee, also handled and helped for the booking. By this time, he was helping with the booking with Bill Dundee and Grizzly Smith. So, all right.
Now, so we come up to the big match. It's the Russian flag against the hair. It's Crusher Khrushchev against Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Did you happen to catch this one, Brad?
I did see it. I don't think it was Jim Duggan's worst match I've ever seen. I've seen those two that I've seen before. I didn't think it was horrible. I didn't think it was great. It was watchable, and but it. Did you like the second rope miss of the spear? I thought that was well timed. It was. I will say this, and I have to be very, I don't want to.
You're being delicate. Are you trying to keep from being suspended off your own?
I don't want to have to, Jack Lord have to suspend me as he suspended you on the Continental. By the way, Rodney West got suspended from the Continental Championship Wrestling discussion. That is available on Facebook. It's Pro Wrestling Insider on Facebook. It's available on there and also available on our YouTube channel as well. But he got suspended for talking badly about Kevin Sullivan. It was pretty bad. So I thought
it was a very honest assessment.
It was an honest assessment, but it was pretty bad. So he got suspended there. So
I mean it in the nicest possible way.
He got suspended for 90 days on that particular program because of his of the negativity that he brought there. So I'm going to try my best not to be negative about that. Hacksaw Jim Duggan drew a lot of money in Louisiana. I do believe by this time, and I hate to say this, but I think Jim Duggan needed to go. And they needed to replace him with someone that could go and have just tremendous matches. And nothing against Jim Duggan. He'd been there since 1980. This was 1984, and it was time for him to move on because it was he was doing the same things over and over again. And same matches constantly. People talk about Ric Flair, but everybody had these formula matches, and he was having them pretty bad then. All right, go ahead.
In this match with Crusher Khrushchev and Duggan, I just wanted to see, but Bill Watts had to say that these 300-pound men were moving around the ring like flyweights, and of course, I laughed. He's a great man. He should took that on the road. That comedy routine right there. They were flying around like flyweights.
I think I have to say something about this situation. When they first came in, the Rock and Roll Express was going against the Midnight Express. Rock and Roll Express again. I mean, not Rock and Roll Express. Midnight Express against Wrestling 2 and Magnum TA. The matches were tremendous matches, and houses were going from. They had prior to this in December of that year before the Midnight Express got there. They had the main event was Nick Bockwinkel against Mr. Wrestling number 2 because Nick Bockwinkel owned a part of the territory. He owned a part of Houston, and they did $24,000 gate. They come back and they have a match with the almost a month later, and it's with the Midnight Express against Wrestling 2. And Magnum TA that draws $59,000. So a huge amount push. So then he comes back and he puts these guys back on the main events, and they drop back down to like $30,000 houses, $40,000 houses when he was drawing the match with Cowboy Bill Watts and the Junkyard Dog. I guess he was the Stagger Lee, right? Mm-hmm. It sold out the Sam Houston Coliseum $109,000 is what they were doing. I mean, that's a complete difference. But you would think he would learned that you can't go backwards, and he would have stayed with the people that were drawing him the money. I don't understand that that concept. Now, when the rock and roll comes back, business does improve a little bit. It comes back. You would think that would have been, somebody you wouldn't have to be hit over the head. You would have thought, okay, this is what I need to do. But anyway, I don't want to suspend myself. So go ahead.
Okay, well, anyway. So anyway, it ends up tremendous moves at the end. I'll just tell you right now, Duggan really does move fast, not flyweight. Okay, but does move quite a bit. They're up and over. Finally catches Khrushchev with the spear. 1, 2, 3, and Duggan. And Khrushchev, Duggan wins the flag, and they have a battle over the flag. And finally, Duggan rips it apart, and that was the end of that. Khrushchev is gone. Robert Grice, evening, distinguished judge. Good evening to you as well. Thank you very much for joining us here tonight. Then we come back. Of course, Duggan rips the flag, and then we come back. We're going to welcome back in a video form and really go through and chronicle the feud basically between the Midnight Express and Rock and Roll Express. And Jim Ross narrates that all of the steps leading up and as the Rock and Roll Express are on the way back. And so it wasn't well done.
It was. I love that whole montage. Everything they put together with that, I thought was tremendous.
And it's all being up. The only thing we're missing is we didn't have the footage for Hammond. We should have had the footage for him. Anyway, there was no camera for that one. We still, to this day, think that was a surprise to everyone. And even Jack Curtis, the event coordinator of the time, he said he didn't even know that was going on. He didn't even promote it. Anyway, there you go. So anyway, we got the great stuff. Rock and Roll Express really chronicled the feud with the Midnight as they're on their way back. And then we end up with Jim Ross standing with the grudge. The whole crowd has come around Jim Duggan, and they have themselves a little roast, a marshmallow roast, and we're burning the Russian flag right there.
And this is when Jim Duggan shines.
Exactly. Absolutely.
That's the reason people bought a ticket to see Jim Duggan, because he could talk. He could do the interview, and that is what made people buy a ticket to come see him.
Well, we've got
somehow he those interviews, he connected with the fans like no one ever did in Mid-South Wrestling. So I have to give him that.
Exactly. And that is his key. That was his key, that ability to connect with the wrestling fans, as he is one of them. And he showed it in that. And they showed it right there as he had them all around in his celebration over Khrushchev. Now, we'll talk about something else. There is another show that has come along on the scene around a bit this time. It's been on about a month at this point, and it's called Power Pro Wrestling. Now, I'm not sure if any of you have watched Power Pro Wrestling, but this is a show we complained about vehemently while we were there. Yes. And the reason we complained about it is because many of the very matches that you were going to see, like in Alexandria or in other towns, were being shown free of charge on Power Pro Wrestling. And this was a show that was primarily, I think, a show that was hosted by Jim Ross, and it was produced by Joel. And like I said, it just repeatedly showed big main event matches on television and then advertising almost the exact same match for the night, that card. And we were adamant that thing shouldn't even be on. And I understand they were trying to fill the holes to keep other companies from coming in and putting the show in the market. I get that. But to show your moneymakers, if you will, right on TV, I'm not sure that was.
It was a bad idea. It's a bad idea no matter who does it. If you're promoting wrestling today, if you're trying to show what you're trying to get people to buy a ticket for, not a smart idea. It wasn't smart then, and it's not smart now.
Yeah, the Mid-South show was developing the match while Power Pro Wrestling, easy for me to say, was basically giving it to you for free. I mean, you're having one town trying to get you to come, one show to get you to come out to see it, and the other one letting you see it for free. Didn't make any sense. But next week begins to make sense, because next week comes one of my most favorite things of all time: the contract signing between the Midnight Express and the Fantastics. Never was there a more beautiful thing in my entire life that I saw. A proper way. If those of you out there are learning the proper use of a chair, tune in. We're going to talk about it. Bobby Eaton teaches he teaches a lesson right back from the days of Nick Goose, and he showed it right there. Boy, it's going to be a big one. Also, huge match. One of the best matches I think I've seen in quite some time, especially involving Steve Williams as he goes against Chris Adams. Just a beautiful match. We'll be talking about that and a whole lot more. And as always, we thank you for joining us. As what we do is just it's a labor of love that we're doing here, talking about these the old times in professional wrestling in 1984. Still, no better, and still to this day, as I said before, and those shows still hold up, no doubt about it.
And if you're watching us right now on YouTube, give us the big thumbs up. Oh, that was a little downward, but you know what I mean. Thumbs up. And subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, and it'll let you know when we're going to be uploading other videos. It could be Mid-South Wrestling. It could be Continental Championship Wrestling Discussion, the Wrestling Conversation, our Tuesdays Wrestling Talk. We talk pro wrestling, old school pro wrestler, as we like to say on Pro Wrestling Inside Now. For all the insiders that are watching this right now, we like to say the way it should be done.
Exactly. I'm all right with that.
Is there anything we need to talk about before we leave?
Always prayers. Let's throw Jack in there. He's been sick. Let's get some prayers for Jack. Prayers for the Armstrong family, still going through a major difficulty time. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us right here on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. And we will see you next time for more Mid-South Wrestling and look back at 1984. Till next week. So long, everybody.